The cemetery stretched across the hillside like a monument to humanity's stubborn refusal to forget. Paul knelt before a simple gravestone, his weathered hands trembling as they traced the engraved letters. Isla Morrison, 2187 to 2204. Beloved daughter, bridge between worlds. 17 years. 17 years since the synthesis protocol had failed, since the hybrid program had collapsed in fire and blood, since he'd watched the medical transport explode over the Pacific. 17 years of carrying a grief that had carved canyons through his soul. I'm sorry, baby girl, Paul whispered, his voice breaking. I couldn't protect you. What he didn't know, what he couldn't know, was that Isla stood 30 meters behind him, concealed by the ancient oak tree, very much alive. She watched her father's shoulders shake with sobs, and every instinct screamed at her to run to him, to reveal the truth. But she couldn't. Not yet. Not until the mission was complete that Isla's hybrid physiology made her invisible to most human detection systems. The Valkyrie DNA interwoven with her human genes granted her abilities that Earth scientists had barely begun to understand before the program's termination. Adaptive camouflage, enhanced cognition, the ability to interface directly with quantum-encrypted networks. She was everything the synthesis protocol had promised, and everything the coalition of pure humanity had feared. That fear had signed her death warrant. Or so they believed. Paul pulled a faded photograph from his jacket. Isla at age 12, grinning gap-toothed, her eyes showing the first hints of the violet bioluminescence that would later mark her as other. He'd taken that photo 3 weeks before the coalition's death squads had come for the hybrid children. They told me you didn't suffer, Paul said to the grave, that the explosion was instant. But I know they were lying. I know what they did to the others before. His voice dissolved into anguish, Isla's fists clenched. Her father didn't know that she'd been extracted by the Valkyrie underground mere hours before the attack. Didn't know that she'd spent the past 17 years being trained, being prepared for this moment. The coalition believed they'd eliminated the threat of human-alien integration. They were catastrophically wrong. A hovercar descended at the cemetery entrance. 3 figures emerged, sharp suits, harder faces. Coalition Security Bureau. Paul's grief transformed instantly into fury. He stood, confronting them. You're not welcome here. The lead agent, a woman with chrome implants running along her jawline, smiled without warmth. Mr. Morrison, still mourning the abomination, I see. Her name was Isla. She was my daughter. She was a genetic mistake, the agent replied. A contamination of pure human stock. You should thank us for. Paul's punch connected with her face before she could finish. The other agents moved forward, but their leader waved them off, wiping purple blood from her lip, cybernetic enhancement fluid. Still have that fire, she said. Good. You'll need it for what's coming. What are you talking about? The agent's smile widened. The Valkyrie are returning. Full invasion fleet, arriving in 6 months. And this time, they're not interested in cooperation or breeding programs. They're coming for retribution. For what we did to their hybrid children. Paul's face went pale. You started a war. We protected humanity's purity. Though I doubt you'll appreciate that when their warships darken our skies. The agent turned to leave, then paused. The hybrids were our only chance at peaceful coexistence. Your daughter might have been our ambassador. Instead, she's ash scattered across the ocean. Sleep well with that, Mr. Morrison. They departed, leaving Paul alone with his rage and grief. Isla remained hidden, her enhanced hearing having captured every word. So the coalition knew. The timeline had just accelerated. She waited until Paul collapsed back at the grave, waited until his tears came again. Then she made her decision. The air shimmered. Isla's camouflage disengaged. Hello, Dad. Paul's head snapped up. For 3 heartbeats, he simply stared. Then recognition flooded his features, followed immediately by disbelief, hope, and terror in rapid succession. No, he whispered. No, you died. You saw what they wanted you to see. Isla stepped forward, and Paul could see the truth now. The violet luminescence in her eyes, the subtle geometric patterns beneath her skin that marked her Valkyrie heritage. But also his nose, his jawline, his fierce determination reflected back at him. Isla. The word was a prayer, a question, a desperate plea. It's me, Dad. I'm so sorry I couldn't tell you. I'm sorry you've grieved for 17 years. But they were watching. They're always watching. If they'd known I survived. Paul crossed the distance between them in 3 strides and pulled her into an embrace so fierce it would have broken a normal human's ribs. Isla's hybrid durability absorbed it easily, and she clung to him just as desperately. "My baby girl," Paul sobbed into her hair. "My God, my baby girl." They held each other beside the empty grave, the grave that had become a symbol of everything the Coalition feared and everything humanity might have become. Finally, Isla pulled back. "Dad, listen to me. What that agent said, it's true. The Valkyrie are coming. But not for retribution." Paul's eyes searched hers. "Then why?" "For rescue. There are others like me. Hundreds of hybrids who survived, who've been preparing. The Coalition's purge failed. And in 6 months, when the Valkyrie arrive, we're going to offer humanity a choice. Evolution or extinction. That's an ultimatum, not a choice." Isla shook her head. "It's the truth. The galaxy doesn't care about genetic purity. There are threats out there that will devour pure humanity without a second thought. The hybrids are humanity's adaptation, its survival mechanism. Dad, you spent your career in xenobiology. You know evolution doesn't ask permission." Paul looked at his daughter, this impossible, magnificent being who carried his blood and alien genes in equal measure, and saw the future. Terrifying, uncertain, but alive with possibility. "What do you need from me?" he asked. Isla smiled, and it was the same gap-toothed grin from the photograph, just aged 17 years. "I need you to help me show them that we're not the enemy. That we're humanity's children, not its replacement." Paul looked at the gravestone one final time, then back at his daughter. "Then let's give that speech some weight. Starting with your resurrection." As they walked away from the empty grave together, neither noticed the small monitoring drone recording everything from the chapel roof. The Coalition would know within the hour. The war that agents thought would come in 6 months had just begun today.